The Supreme Court just ruled that abortion pills can stay on the market. Last summer, when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, which guaranteed a constitutional right to an abortion, a lot of alarm bells started going off that the right wing is going to begin to come after other forms of abortion, such as abortion pills, okay? And lo and behold, they have, and Supreme Court just ruled on a case yesterday that's allowing the pills to at least temporarily stay on the market, okay? So I got a couple of articles I want to show you here from Vice. This one here says the Supreme Court just ruled abortion pills can stay on the market. Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito dissented, with Alito arguing the administration had failed to demonstrate irreparable harm. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this article, and next I'm going to show you an article that really illustrates why, even if the abortion pill is banned, okay, it's not stopping people from getting abortions, and it's not stopping from people from using the abortion pill. It's just that people are going to resort to a more harmful, potentially dangerous, potentially life-threatening ways of getting the same procedure that was legal prior to Roe v. Wade, right? So it says a common, effective, and safe abortion pill can remain on the market for now, the Supreme Court ruled Friday night. In the first major Supreme Court ruling on abortion since the justices overturned Roe v. Wade last year. Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, two of the most hardline right-wingers on the overwhelmingly conservative-leaning court, publicly dissented from the court order. Over the last few weeks, the drug Mifopristone, one of the two drugs typically used to induce medication abortions in the United States, has taken center stage in the country's relentless abortion wars. Although the vast majority of research has found that Mifopristone is safe, anti-abortion activists have asked federal courts to suspend the Food and Drug Administration's 2000 approval of the drug. Judge Matthew Kaczmarek, who was appointed by former President Donald Trump, initially agreed to do so on April 7th. However, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 5th District found on April 12th that it is too late to pause the FDA's approval of Mifopristone. Instead, the Federal Appeals Court ruled to levy heavy restrictions on Mifopristone, including requiring that it be obtained in person and relabeling it for only until 7 weeks of pregnancy rather than 10. Separately, a Washington state had ordered 17 states and Washington, D.C. to preserve access to Mifopristone, irrespective of the Fifth Court's ruling. This order has set up a direct conflict between federal courts. So there's one court saying that it is to remain legal and available federally, and other courts that are saying that the drug is to not be allowed. So this is what set up this Supreme Court decision. But the Biden administration asked the Supreme Court to suspend any court orders that would change Mifopristone's availability. The justices agreed. Instead, Mifoprisone will remain on the market without restrictions while the case winds its way through the courts. Alito, who wrote the opinion overturning Roe, argued in his dissent Friday that the administration had failed to demonstrate that it would suffer irreparable harm if the restrictions were implemented. He also accused the FDA of using the dueling district court orders to create the atmosphere of regulatory chaos, given that the FDA did not appeal the Washington court order, and suggested that it's not even clear that the FDA would enforce a court order to change its approach to Mifopristone. The government has not dispelled legitimate doubts that it would even obey an unfavorable order in these cases, much less that it would choose to take enforcement actions to which it has strong objections. Okay, so it is going to cause irreparable harm, and there is documentation of it, because what it means is that women are going to be forced to either A, use other methods, or B, obtain the medication illegally, which is not going to be held to FDA standards, which means that it's going to be more dangerous and more potentially harmful to women to take drugs that are not approved by the FDA. Okay, so maybe it's not causing irreparable harm to white heterosexual men. Maybe it's not causing any harm to them, but it does have irreparable harm, as is indicated by this next article here. Says the Supreme Court can't stop underground abortion networks, and they're thriving. No matter what laws and bans are out there, people are going to find a way to access the care that they need. A common, safe, and effective abortion pill could be yanked from the market or placed under restrictions by midnight Friday. So this is written prior to the decision, obviously. But regardless of any ruling from the Supreme Court on the fate of Mifopristone, the nation's highest court can only control the legal market for the drug. Only the legal market has no real ability to dictate what happens within the thriving world of underground abortion networks, where Mifopristone has continued to flow, and where demand for the drug will likely skyrocket rather than fall if the Supreme Court tries to cut off the U.S. healthcare system supply. Traffic on Plan C, a website that provides information about how to get abortion pills, has roughly doubled every time there's a new development in the case, co-founder Elisa Wells told Vice News. These systems are only strengthening in the face of these unjust rulings. They've been around for years and have not been able to be stopped in a large-scale way, said Wales, adding that Plan C is constantly being contacted by new entities that want to ship abortion pills. The opportunities for buying pills have only increased over time, you see? So it's their whole argument of, we want less abortion, so we're going to limit access to legal abortion, therefore people are going to have less abortions. The whole argument is bunk. All the data shows is that women still find ways to get abortions. If you have a child in your stomach, if you have a kid that you are growing inside of you, and you do not want to birth this child into the earth, you are going to find ways to get an abortion. Whether it's legal, whether it's not legal, whether you have to travel, whether you don't have to travel, whether you have to go to an underground market and get medication that is now illegal. When there's a will, there's a way, okay? And the economic reasons for people not wanting to have children, okay, those still exist. If Republicans really wanted abortions to be less, then why not? Let's try to make the economic conditions that force many women into getting abortions. Let's make those economic conditions go away. Huh? Maybe that's an idea. Maybe let's make it more tangible to raise a child in the 21st century for young women. Let's make it more palatable of an option to raise a child rather than restrict access to women who would rather not. The Supreme Court is weighing whether to suspend the Food and Drug Administration's 2000 approval of Mifopristone. As we now know, they haven't suspended it. The vast majority of research has found that Mifopristone is safe. Medical experts broadly agree that self-managing your abortion using pills in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy is also safe. However, there are legal risks. Although most states do not ban people from inducing their own abortions, experts have long warned that if a local anti-abortion prosecutor wants to charge someone for doing so, they'll find a statute that's elastic enough to do it. Between 2000 and 2020, at least 61 people across 26 states were criminalized for alleged involvement with a self-managed abortion. So that's another layer on top of this. It's not just that. Using the drug itself is illegal, and you can be prosecuted for that. Now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, it's not that they are just seeking to make Mifopristone illegal, so that using the pill would be against the law. But so it's a double whammy. It would be that using Mifopristone would be illegal, and then having a self-managing abortion where you take matters and you self-manage your own abortion, even making that illegal in and of itself. That's crazy. So for obvious reasons, it is profoundly difficult to track how many people have undergone self-managed abortions, right? Because people aren't going to go run to the nearest pole and shout from the rooftops that this is something that they did. This is a very personal, difficult decision that many women make. And it's not something that's easily tracked that makes sense. But in the last 6 months of 2022, after the overturning of Roe in June, at least 20,000 packets of abortion pills were shipped to people in the United States through clandestine channels, Vice News reported. Abortion rights activists are particularly fearful that the Supreme Court, with its 6-3 conservative majority, may take the unlikely step of commenting or even ruling against the Comstock Act, a long-defunct 1800s anti-obscenity law that anti-abortion activists are now trying to use to ban the mailing of all abortion-related materials. This would amount to a nationwide ban on all in-clinic abortion methods because clinics get their instruments and medications shipped to them. However, even banning mailing such materials likely wouldn't stop the people who covertly ship abortion pills. Even banning them is not going to stop it. After all, if they're mailing abortion pills to a state where the procedure is banned, they're potentially already breaking the law. Abortion bans typically apply to people who help provide abortions, not those who receive them. These businesses that are mailing the pills to people are, as I said before, they're operating outside the margins of things, well said. So they're not complying with the laws that might pertain to them right now. Comstock doesn't make any difference. Nurse practitioner Christine Pitney, a midwife with Forward Midwifery and co-founder of Abortion Freedom Fund, a fund for telehealth abortions, told Vice News earlier this year that one of her scariest thoughts is that the government will start to search the mail for abortion pills, but the Postal Service already struggles to police illicit drugs. A 2018 report from the Postal Service's Office of the Inspector General found that out of 104 drug product sites surveyed by the office, 92% used the Postal Service, and almost half of those sites were evidently so confident that they could evade detection that they promised to reship lost packages through the Postal Services. With abortion generally, we have to keep our eyes on laws that they're trying to restrict cross-state travel and cross-state commerce. But I also truly think no matter what laws and bans are out there, people are going to find a way to get access to the care that they need. So in the end, if you're an anti-abortion person, if you're wanting abortions to not be a thing in the United States, these strict, draconian anti-abortion laws, they don't accomplish that goal. They don't accomplish that goal. This is what tells me that when these conservatives get on their moral high horses about the life of children and we have to protect the sacredness of life, it's all just a bunch of bullcrap. Okay, it is. They don't care about saving the lives of children. They don't care. Okay, what about all the children that are shot in schools every single week, every month, every year in this country? What about the children that are shot in schools? We don't care about saving them? Those are children. Those are real life children. No, it's about control of women. Control of women. Control of young people. Okay, that's what this is about. That's what the whole anti-abortion push in this country is about. Okay, it's about powerful people controlling the everyday lives of everyday Americans. in whatever way they possibly can do it. Okay? And now that they have their Trump-appointed majority, they have the votes to do it, and they're going to continue pushing these draconian laws that make no legal sense, they make no moral sense, and they're not even accomplishing the goals that they're setting out, that they're claiming that they're setting out to accomplish. So much for small government and the government staying out of people's lives and people's personal decisions, I guess. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to catch you in the next one, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks.